What is going on, everybody, on YouTube? Steve here with Raiken Profit, RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you guys with another live show. And today's live show is titled How to Quit Your Job and Go Full-Time Selling on eBay with Mr. Ronnie Hart. So this is going to be a really awesome show. Ronnie's been a good friend of mine for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years now, probably more than that. And I still remember when I was watching his videos and he was showing all his clothes and all the different items that he was picking, and I was so inspired. We somehow connected, and we've met up in real life a couple times. We've gone thrifting, hustling, and I tell you right now, he is a class act guy and definitely knows his stuff. So I'm super pumped up to talk to Ronnie. Ronnie, why don't you say hello to everybody and tell everybody a little bit about who you are and maybe a little bit of your story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically, I was known as Hart's Motors Company when I first started, because I kind of dealt more with cars, but then that was what my YouTube, I never thought YouTube was going to turn into what it did. You know, I'm at like 6,007, I don't know how many subscribers, but later on, you know, I had fun with it. Never thought it was going to turn into what it did, but, you know, changed the name to Hart Pickers. It was easier and better, I think, suited, and the wife liked that nickname. You know, basically got into eBay probably, we're in 2016 right now, so probably early 2000, like February, March ish. I started selling shit around the house in 2012. Almost forgot the year. That makes a big difference. Started making YouTube videos around the same part. I didn't even have an idea what a thrift store was when I started. You know, and there's one literally a quarter of a mile from my house. So it took a little while, and you know, you have to find your niche. I found my niche, figured it out after about 6 months. It was that and Amazon. And 2013, I got kicked off Amazon. So it was like you have to change and mold around the things. I got back on Amazon in 2015, and you know, it opens a lot of doors having more than one avenue to make money. You know, I make money probably four or five ways now, but eBay is the main bread and butter business for myself.
So I saw a post, I don't know if it was an Instagram or a Facebook or what platform it was on, but you had a post that said turning pennies into something, and it showed what was the deal with that, man?
I was just having fun, because you'll see like all these, everybody puts like their thing is like, I made $1 into 5 million or something like that. So I was just having fun, you know, with like,
but I was impressed with your number.
Than $1, you get, but I did in the last 4.5 years on eBay. I've sold, it was 7,000 transactions exactly for $349,000. So it's an average selling price of almost $50, right under 50, 49 and change, basically. I mean, and so, most of it's been in the last probably 2.5 years, because I think the first year I did 20, and then the second year I did 60. So I mean, you do the math where the rest is.
So that's pretty awesome, guys. You know, it's a special treat. Ronnie, he sold over, you know, $349,000 in sales. So it's going to be an awesome show, and we're going to be talking about, you know, how to quit your job, figuring out if it's right for you, how to manage cash flow, all the issues, all the ins and outs that deal with it. Before we dive into the show, I want to ask you guys for a few things. Leave a comment in the comment section. We've got a ton of people right now watching live. We got Chicago Crown Hustler. We got Barky. What's going on, Barky? The Little Shop of Hoarders. I like that name right there. Michelle Wright, June, Polly, T.M. McGuire, Sean Patrick, Greg Bass. We've got 216 people right now, and we were talking before the show, and we want to hit a record. We want to hit 400 live viewers tonight. So in order to do that, you've got to do a few things. You've got to smash that like button, because you want to know when you hit the like button, it helps to share the video. And also, if you're a part of a Facebook group, if you've got any type of following, share this video. We're going to hit 400. I'm telling you, tonight's the night to do it, Ronnie, man. When Ronnie and I had a show, it was the realities of a full-time seller or something like that. On eBay, I think we hit a record of 300 at the time, which was a record, right? Or was that with Chad? I don't remember.
That was with Chad.
Oh, darn it. But anyways, we're going to get a record. We got 223 people. So let's dive right into the show, guys. Smash that like button. Follow Ronnie. Where can I find you, Ronnie?
Find me on Heart Pickers right here on YouTube. Find me on Instagram. I do post occasionally here and there. It's more Instagram is kind of more sporadic. I don't think of it. I don't sell on it. I just kind of show certain things I pick up. It's a lot more than clothing on Instagram. I might show pictures of vintage advertising and stuff like that that I buy and sell and collect also. Another
Awesome,
like side hobby thing.
So if your channel's not already linked in the description, I will link it up after the show. But with that being said, if you guys are ready to rock and roll, let's dive into this live show. So Ronnie, let's talk about what's your story in terms of how you ended up quitting your job and going full time. Let's bring you back to maybe talk about your story in terms of how you transitioned from the normal everyday 9 to 5, or I know you were talking about cars and all that stuff. Talk about your story of transitioning over.
Yeah, for whoever said it, I do not do Periscope. I can only focus on so many things. All you people that have like 10 different things going on, God bless you. But I'm lucky if I could do one video a week on YouTube. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. But you know, my story is when I started, you know, it was just for extra money. I had this like 6-year-old GMC Yukon that was just driving me crazy. It was a bad vehicle, bad buy. You know, we all get that secondhand vehicle, pre-owned vehicle, and you think, oh wow, I'm gonna have this for a few years, and it just sucked. The engine blew, and I almost gave up on eBay at this time. This was in 2012, after the summer. I had like 2 months of like maybe $2,000 combined sales. One was like 900. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I was just like, it kind of seems like a waste of time going out thrifting. I wasn't really finding anything, but I was kind of more in that in-between niche. I would go to a thrift store and I didn't really have any real knowledge of anything. It was kind of like you go around, just look up things on your phone. It wasn't until the fall of 2012, or maybe a little sooner, I started to research clothing, like just out of the blue, like, okay, what sells? Like one day I would spend like an hour and just go through dress shirts and go through casual shirts, go through sport coats. And I kind of get an idea the same names would pop up. You know, if you're searching, you're going to find brands like Kite and Brioni, and you're like, oh, that brand does fairly well. I'm going to look out for that brand, look out for this brand. And I don't know, it just stuck. I just became very good at it. I became very good at picking out even oddball things that or vintage things, women's stuff, though I do not really go after women's stuff, but most stores have a little boutique section. I will pick up something out of that boutique section if it's a woman. They're already putting it there, and I'm like, I can make some money on that. Then going 2013, trying to think when I exactly went full time. I think it was the end of 2013. I was working at a job. I was making pretty decent money. I was almost making $20 an hour. Being a cook, I've been at the restaurant for 98 to 2000. It's like 16 years or so. I was there for a while, and just there was nowhere else for me to go really. And I really wasn't. I was just barely getting by still. That was the problem. But at that time, I was doing like 50, 60 on eBay, so it was kind of like, you know, getting this extra money in. It was kind of nice. I went and bought a brand new car, my Camry at the time. Never bought, I think that was my first time I ever bought a new car. You know, it was kind of nice. And I didn't expect to go full time. I wanted to wait 1 more year. But what happened was I got in a huge disagreement with my boss at work over time off. I asked for 5 weeks. I had that time. I had actually 6 weeks to take off every year. I didn't take off any week. All of a sudden, he's telling me I can't take it off. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I already made plans. So I wind up walking out one day, pissed off. And then, like, we talked it out. And this was back in, like, about a month before I just quit. It was just one day I was in New York with my parents. I'm supposed to come back. You know, I went up there for 2 days, and I just called, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not coming back. I'm done. And, you know, a few days later, I drove down to Florida for the first part of our trip for like 2 weeks almost, and met up with Golden Finger Picker in Orlando and had some fun. Went to, you know, did some things, went to see the space rocket that never went up, and that was a disaster. Disaster. I mean, if you ever go to the Kennedy Space thing. You're watching one of these like satellites or something go up, and it's like they set you on these bleachers. You got to get there like 2 a.m. They bus you to the bleacher area, but then coming back, you got to go through this line. You're all day in the sun, waiting for it, waiting for it, waiting for it. That was a hard day. You get back at like 3 in the afternoon, and it was hard. But anyway, enough about that. But then I came back, and I had my store on vacation mode for 2 weeks. I had 80-something packages to ship out.
Wow.
We have videos on the channel of like all the packages. I broke it down, like how much we made for the month and everything like that, how much we made for the time and everything. And it was like, nobody had a problem with it. Then I went to the Dominican Republic, and I did the same thing for like 17 days. Was like, and then the problem was when you go on vacation for like 5 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing changed because I had a good amount of money saved. But when I kind of got back, I didn't have that whole lot of money. So, the first month kind of was like a little bit of a struggle. You're kind of watching what you spend, because for me, for my car, 2 cars, car insurance, house at the time, we had a warehouse and everything. We were well close to $5,000 a month that I had to make profit to, and that's putting some money away for the IRS too, because you don't want to be hit with their bills and,
So let me ask you, let me take a step back. So you finally kind of hit like a wall where you're like, you know what, I can't take this, that, I want to go on vacation. I already had it set in stone, and now the boss is telling me, you can't, or there's a disagreement. You said, finally, I'm out. You walked out. Is that right? You walked out and you're like,
well, I walked out one day, and then I came back. We like talked it on the phone because I worked for him for 18 years. Or 16 years. We have a very good relationship. I know his whole family. His father owns the restaurant. His brother-in-law works there. His sister works there. So we all have a good connection. So it was like a disagreement. I've walked out a few other times over disagreements. And I think sometimes when you work with someone, you're very close to them. You're very close to their family. You kind of you tend to act up sometimes a little bit more different than you would at a normal job. At the same time, I was working for my friend at night. My best friend, he owns a lobster restaurant. I was helping him out for a few hours a night. And, his restaurant's so much different because it's not as busy. But, cooks tend to lose their temper very fast and they act up pretty quickly.
So let me ask you, I got a question. There's so many people I know who daydream about walking out and quitting. Is it smart for somebody to, and I know your story's a little different, but is it smart for somebody just to say, you know what? I'm burning the boats behind me. That old saying that goes, just burn your boats. I know there's a story of a war that had happened, and in order to
bridge.
I think there's a story about boats.
Okay.
I could swear there was like this whole army that came to some island or something, and they were outnumbered by like so many different people. Again, I'm kind of just going along the story from what I understand, and they knew that everyone was going to kind of cower out and not fight because they were so outnumbered. So what the guy did was burn all the boats behind him, because you have no other option but to survive. So the question is, do you feel it's the best move to burn the boats or burn the bridge or whatever and just say, you know what, I have no option of turning around, my back's against the wall? Do you think that's a smart option? Or would you say, if you could go back in time, or if you can give advice, would you say, you know what, the best way is to work your full-time job and create a side hustle, and then build that side hustle up to the point where maybe you could cut the full-time hours down and then finally make that leap? What advice would you give to somebody if someone was in that predicament?
You definitely gotta build it up. It definitely has to be close to covering your expenses. And you really should have some money set aside. I mean, I disagree with the whole have a year's salary set aside or have 6 months, because
Yeah, why do you disagree with that?
I just don't think it's practical in most people. I just don't think it's practical. I don't know most people that can save that kind of money. I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm just thinking I wish I would have stayed another year, because when I left, I took my wife with me. It was kind of like she worked at another job as a store manager at a party store, and I'm like, you're coming with me. If I'm going full time, you're going full time. That might not have been a good choice because most people, they have that other income coming in. Like most people have their spouse work a full-time job somewhere else, because then it became an issue for health insurance.
Oh,
That
good point.
I didn't have health insurance for a year. I just got it this year through the whole. And last year I messed up because I didn't have the paperwork in time. There was an issue. They kept on making me send the same damn stupid piece of paper in like 3 different times, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't get it." I'm like, "What do you mean we didn't get it? What do you mean?" Like, and then you're getting pissed off. So this time I went to somebody that deals with that whole thing, and like, right here, here's the papers, take care of it. Got to get health insurance somewhere through Obamacare thing, figure it out, tell me what I got to pay,
Sure.
because you need it. Unfortunately, it's a thing. This year I've had some little issues. I've lost probably 40 pounds right now. I'm trying to lose a lot more, and it's definitely a thing. You're constantly working on something, and it's good to have health insurance. You especially if you have kids.
Awesome, man. Hey, Ronnie, do you see how many live viewers we have right now? We had a goal at the beginning.
No.
326 live viewers. We're hitting 400 tonight, guys. We're hitting 400. So if you want to congratulate Ronnie for the 40-pound weight loss, and I'll tell you right now, I want to clap for you right now because I used to be 240 pounds, and I've dropped 40, 60 pounds over the years, and I know how hard it is. So smash the like button for Ronnie right there, man, because business is great and money is awesome, but you got to take care of your health and family, and there's so many different aspects. So anyways, Ronnie, let me ask you another question from my handy dandy little outline, man. We keep it organized on the Raiken Profit YouTube channel. How does somebody determine how much money they need in order to quit their job? Now, I know this is going to differ, but how does somebody go about saying, do you take out a notepad or an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet and just write down all your expenses and then kind of like get an idea of what do you need to make? Because there's so many variables when you run an eBay business or an Amazon business, right? There's ups, there's downs, there's slow seasons, there's returns. I mean, how would you advise somebody to kind of break down how much money they need to make in order to quit their job and have that cushion there too, and not be living in stress and like fear every day?
Best thing to do, and this is something I don't follow whatsoever, try to get your expenses as low as possible. Cut if you could cut internet, or I mean, not cut internet, of course. How the hell are you going to list it on eBay? Like that just didn't make any sense. But you could cut cable, or you just cut certain things. Maybe it's that cup of coffee every day that you went to Starbucks for. Or cut smoking out. How many people smoke? And that's like I don't know what a pack of cigarettes a day, $10 a day. That's
too much.
That's more than, you could cut certain things out of your habit to make it more easy for you to attain that goal. Maybe it's putting off buying a new car because necessarily you don't need it, you want it. Certain little things like that. A big reason why I stay in my house, we rent a 2-bedroom condo, is because of the price we got at is pretty decent. When we look at like bigger places and everything like that, it's quite a bit more to where I'm like, you know what? We're only 2 people. We don't need a 4-bedroom house. We're comfortable. I wish I would have saved on I got 2 car payments that are about $950 a month, and then my wife's considered a new driver on my insurance plan. So
oh gosh,
kind of pricey a little bit. But there's other things too. But I never cut any expenses. Like when I went full time, I went out and got another car. It was like, well, I should have pumped the brakes right there. I didn't need it. Just try to cut your expenses as much as you can. But you have to understand what it costs you to live month to month, what it's going to cost you, and really put it down and see if your eBay business is coming close to it. And not talk about gross sales. You want to talk about the profit you see out of that. Because you could be like, well, it cost me $4,000. I'm making $4,000 on eBay. No, are you taking home in your pocket $4,000 after fees, after shipping,
and cost of goods too?
Stuff. Yeah. So I mean, you really have to pay attention to all that stuff. And I mean, I don't know how many people I've seen like have a really good lick at something. They go in and they maybe find 50 toner cartridges or something like that, and they're like, oh my God, I made $3,000 this week. I'm quitting my job. And and then they can't find nothing for a month. And you see that happen a lot more with Amazon sellers. They'll do really good fourth quarter, and then right after that, it's like, what happened? Who pulled the rug out from under me? And they kind of, or you see a lot of it with eBay sellers in the summer, where there's a dip in sales. Like our sales last year, I have them on my chalkboard. Our best month was 12.5 on eBay. Our slowest month was 8,100. That's a little bit of a difference. That's a $4,000 difference. So that's about 35% different, 40%. So you could see you have to be able to prepare for that. You have to take the good with the bad. You should always have some money. It's trolling me.
That's why I like the idea of like slowly quitting your job, right? Like taking it slow. Like so many people, they have a great month, like you said, they find a bunch of toner or ink cartridges, and it's like, you know, bada bing, bada boom. Like the profits are always coming. Like there's ups and downs. That's why I say, you know, take it slow. You know, get a 6-month average, right, or a year average. You know, there's no race, right? Because if you continue doing what you're doing, you're going to be working your normal 9-to-5 job, being miserable for the rest of your life anyway. So why not just take it slow? Take it slow, learn. And wouldn't you agree, Ronnie, that if you're willing to learn each and every day and go through the sold listings like you said you were doing with the clothing and going to the thrift store more often, you're going to form little niches, right? You're going to form that clothing niche. You're going to figure out what's hot with books and electronics and all that. So I definitely like that point you're going at. Let me ask you something, Ronnie. In terms of when you finally transitioned over from, I know you were in that restaurant job, and me and you, we were always talking. You were always daydreaming. I remember back in the day, man, I still remember this one time where I'm like, dude, I can't believe I hit $3,000 on eBay. And you're like, what? That's nothing, man. I hit 4,000. And I'm like, holy crap. Like Ronnie hit 4,000. I'm like, bonafide, Ronnie hit 4,000. And now it's like, I don't know. It's a journey. It's a process. So it's really fun looking back. But what's the biggest struggle you'd say that you had to deal with in that transition? What was the biggest struggle that for you? Was it self-starting? Was it the self-motivation? Because you go to a normal job, you're on the schedule, you've got to come in or else you get your ass ripped. So was it the self-starting, the motivation, the consistency? What was your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge was probably finding stuff in the wintertime a little bit. As for me and you, our winters can be really good. One year, like last year, was pretty decent. But the year before, it was like for a 2-month period, we got snow every other day. It seemed like we were buried under, I don't know, 4 feet of snow, and thrift stores don't open. Nobody starts donating stuff. I mean, I was going to the thrift stores and it's like the aisles were bare. It was like, come on, melt, snow, melt. People want to put their stuff out there. It was just like, it was unreal. But that was probably the biggest issue for me that year. But there was other ways to get stuff. There's Craigslist. You just have to kind of venture out. I try going to dry cleaners, seeing if they wanted to sell their unclaimed inventory. We've gotten to look at some stuff, but it was never really anything to sink money into. I'm not picking up a bunch of Arrow shirts, even if they're dry clean. It's just not going to work. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you. I met up with a dry cleaner once, and he must have had like 800 items. I'm not even kidding. He was saving up items for like years. I didn't buy one item, man. Everything, I don't know if he was a reseller or what, but it was such trash. It was really really, really bad. But that was pretty much my only like big time experience with it. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah, so there was a lot of different ways to get stuff. We used Craigslist for a while, but it's kind of hard. We're down on Cape Cod. Craigslist is really hit or miss with us because of everything seems to be up in Boston. Then you got to factor in time, the driving. We're kind of cut off from the rest of Massachusetts in a way. And I don't know, that becomes the biggest thing. I think another big issue that you see with a lot of people becomes money becomes an issue to source. They're tight and they get money. It's kind of to pay, I got to pay my power bill. I got to pay this bill, that bill, and they don't really have that money to reinvest in their business, so they're constantly just getting by. It's like, and there's ways to get money. A lot of people I've known have used the PayPal working capital loan. I was just talking to somebody today that said they're paying their rest of their loan. I looked at it, I never took it. I was thinking to pay off both of my cars with it. But then I do that and I'd probably trade it for another car. That's just, I'm not good with money for the most part. So, it's kind of once, they're free now, I can trade it in for something else. I really would love to get a 4Runner with the TRD Pro package, but outside, or a Tundra.
We got somebody trolling you in the comments saying 3 acres of snow. Let me ask you, Ronnie. Do you think it's a smart move? Let's be 100% transparent right now, and if you give your honest opinion, do you think right now it's a smart move for somebody to go full-time with eBay?
I don't think it's a bad idea, but you have to be in the right situation. You can't be a new person that just started 2 weeks ago and be like, I want to do this full-time. You kind of got to walk into it, don't run, kind of set up everything you need to set up and be prepared for it. Get yourself some get yourself some things in place. I'm trying to think of the right word. I want to keep saying programs, but I don't know if that's the right word. But you want to get yourself in order and everything around you, and try to get other platforms available. Just don't, once you get eBay kind of set, maybe try Amazon or try moving things on Craigslist, more maybe Etsy, and really see this Poshmark that I've never tried that.
Why is it important to diversify your income? That was a question I had a couple down, but let's dive right into that. Why is it important to not just put all your eggs in eBay or Amazon or Craigslist?
I was doing mostly eBay and Amazon when I started. And the thing was, it's kind of, when one was kind of doing bad, the other was kind of maybe doing a little better. So it would kind of even it out a little bit. Like I think last year between both selling platforms, I was at about 15, 16,000 almost every month. It was even. So even though I might only did 8,000 on eBay, Amazon I might have did 7,000 that month. So it always evened out. Like the summer was really bad, slow on eBay, but Amazon was really good for me. Yeah. So it always evened out. And if you go into a thrift store, there's things that you might overlook that you can sell on Amazon and that sell fairly well. And FBA is kind of a very easy program to deal with once you get your head wrapped around it. I know people were telling me back in 2012, like, you don't need to be doing merchant fulfill, you need to be doing FBA, but nobody was talking about it. So I had no idea what FBA was. There was no one I could bounce an idea off of and really help me with it. Like later on, I had people to kind of sit there and be like, okay, this is how you set up this is, well, I kind of did it on my own because I had an error and I sent someone messages like shitload, like for an hour. And I'm like, yo, I'm stuck on this thing. And they kept on hitting where it says like, use UPS or use another shipper. I kept on putting down use another shipper, but I didn't understand like how it was working.
We've got Betty Ryan in the comment section, so I want to shout out Betty. We were talking earlier because I went to see a new accountant and bookkeeper today, setting up a new service, so I want to shout her out. She was asking a question, a little off topic. Appreciate your last response, Ronnie. Is there a magic number in terms of how many items you have to have listed in order to make those big sales? Now, I don't know what that means. A big sales for someone could be 1,000 a month or 10,000 a month. Let me just ask you, based on your experience now, based on your experience with the types of items you focused on, and remember, guys, he was focusing on kind of higher end items. Your average sales been $50, so his magic number is going to be way different than somebody who's screwing around with $10 items. But what was your magic number to hit $5,000 in sales a month or 10,000? Can you recollect those numbers?
I had about anywhere between 800 and 1,000 listings, but I'm more of a long tail seller. I think on my best month, I only sold 209 items maybe. or 210, somewhere around there. Most months I'll do I'm right around 150 to 200, at like 50 to 60 per average. So it adds up really quickly. But I know other people that do well with smaller inventories. Like I did an interview of what's her name, Nicole State, a few weeks ago.
That was a
We
great
did it
show.
on my channel, which Golden Finger Picker, and she does what works for her, which is more quick flipping of stuff that she gets really cheap from the Goodwill outlet. So she's able to make more than me, actually. She does like 15,000 a month sometimes, and it's like unreal how much she makes, and she gets that stuff fairly cheap because a Goodwill outlet by the pound, she gets the stuff. And not every Goodwill is by the pound, because we have one in Boston, and it's basically half off day. It's basically shirts are like $250. It's kind of messed up. So it's just like you have to kind of use, because what I do and what I sell and what I find and what you find, you're not that far from me, is totally different what somebody is going to be finding in California or even in Texas or wherever, certain places. But if you're out in the middle of the boondocks, that's not going to happen. Like if you're the crazy pick of life and in Nebraska, you're probably not going to come across that nice like Brioni suit or anything like that. It's going to be a lot harder. So you're going to have to niche out and find out what is in those areas to find and what could be flipped. Maybe it's Amazon, maybe it's eBay, something else, or maybe even thrift stores is not an option. Maybe it's local auctions and stuff like that. There's always a way to make money in an area. You just have to figure it out and find out.
Yep, there's always an opportunity. Ronnie, I can't help it, man, but we're setting records tonight together. I saw 382 a few seconds ago.
That's nice.
382, man. We got to hit 400 with Ronnie, man, because Ronnie and I, we have a lot of history. So help us out, help some brothers out right now. But let's I have a few more questions, and I want to leave the floor open for like the last 20 minutes, because I just want to answer straight up questions and add as much value as possible. So let's fly through these last two questions and then just go straight up Q&A like Gary V style and hit 400. Smash the like button, guys. Share this, because we're about to be going into Q&A. The biggest traps to avoid in order to succeed as a person who transitions from part-time to full-time. What's the biggest trap somebody could fall into when they quit their job and they're full-time, and they're doing these one or two things that is just like, you know what, you're looking and you're thinking to yourself, you're screwed if you keep that up?
I think probably one of the things is some people just have a really good month, and they have that really good month. Maybe they had one really good sale, and they kind of they want to just quit really fast. That's one of the biggest things I see people do. You'll see somebody have this great month, and then next thing you know, they're full time, and then you'll see them down the road struggling to keep ahead and everything like that, and business plans. People have a issue with business plan. They'll see what works for me and want to emulate it or copy it, but it may not work for everybody, and that's for everybody. It just, your business plan works for you, or your store, for whatever reason, you built the feedback and you built the customers that come back and buy stuff and so on and so forth. Then somebody else is like, hey, you sold that for that. Why can't I sell that for the same price? And I get that often. It's really odd. Or I'll see it when I do a sales update video. Someone will be like, oh, how did you sell that for that price? I've been having mine up for God knows how long. And it's so many different factors. It might be size, it might be condition, it might be pictures. There's so many different things that are needed in this game to stay really ahead of the curve.
All right, so we're going to jump into Q&A right now, because, there's so many awesome questions coming through. If you guys have a question right now, what I want you to do is capitalize question and then ask your question so it really stands out. We got 378 people in the house right now watching live, so I know there's a lot of people out there who have questions. Again, Ronnie's been selling on eBay since, 2012, 2013. He sold over $349,000 in gross sales. So this guy's got experience. He's been around the block. He's transitioned from part-time to full-time. So if you're in that boat, ask a question right now. All right. Question: what part of the year is the best time to go full-time on eBay?
I would guess if you're gonna go, see, it's like a double-edged sword in a way, because if you said like fourth quarter, because that's where most of the sales are, but you didn't have time to build your store up,
Mm.
and you probably miss out depending on where you live. Like if you live in the Northeast, yard sale season's over where you could really find good stuff. So it's kind of hard to say, the best time of year to go full time is what's best for you. And only you're going to know that, because all different niches are different too. The clothing niche kind of dies down a little bit in the summer. But I know other people, like my buddy Golden Finger Picker, he's had a really good summer selling his God knows what, so it just depends.
385 question: how do you reset yourself after a letdown, like a big return or something, just shit hits the fan? Excuse my language.
You know what? I don't even worry about returns. I had like 3 returns in a day come back, and it was like $850. And you know what? It was like
it's a freaking mortgage.
It was like, you know what? The stuff is sold once before. It's gonna sell again. Just list it. And one sold like a few days later for almost $100 more because I took an offer at the first time. So it just never, I never really worry about it too much. I just let it go. I mean, I'm not gonna, because your attitude is the main thing. You want to stay positive. You don't want that negative attitude to really weigh you down.
Question from Daily E-commerce. I love that name right there. What's going on, Daily? If you're limited on funds and you don't have a ton of money, what's the best way to scale your eBay business?
I would say the ease. I mean, if for that kind of thing is try to maybe go to stores on half off days, or go to like the Goodwill outlets and stuff like that. Visit stuff where you could actually buy stuff at a cheaper price, even make a mistake because you're getting into it for a cheaper price, learning curve and all that kind of stuff. I think that's just, I think if you can get into stuff, sell shit around your house too that you don't use anymore. We all have things that are just, we don't use that anymore. Sell it.
Somebody's saying do consignment if you have no money. Let's see. Question from Susan Johnson. What's going on, Susan? Question: do you dry clean sport coats and suits? Have you ever had a complaint about thrift store odor? That good old Goodwill stink.
I don't think I've ever really, I think maybe, I've sold 7,000 things, and every once in a while you will have a complaint about a way something smells, and you don't know if it's 100% like an honest reason or if that's the reason they just want to return it, because I'll be smelling it like a freaking crazy person trying to figure it out. And I just don't know. It's kind of funny. It's like one of those things. But unless something's really bad, I will dry clean it. Our dry cleaners, like I just dropped off 4 shirts there the other day, because one was silk and stuff like that. It's a really nice silk shirt. I should get $50 plus for it.
Will you pick up clothing items that are that stink like cigarettes? Is there any way to get that smell out?
If I can smell it smells like cigarette, I try not to pick it up. Every once in a while, I'll get something and I kind of, you don't smell it. I really try to smell, especially jackets, like leather jackets or wool jackets. I really try to smell those to see.
Roddy's in the thrift store like, it smells good.
I do make a little sniff by it because I've never smoked, so I that smell, for whatever reason, really bothers me. So I'll start sneezing almost around it.
Man, me too. When I was on my my 30-day road trip, I had to stay at in a smoking room in the last day because I picked up that huge CD haul. Dude, I was dying, man. I won't bring anything with cigarettes. I picked up a pair of boots the other day. It stinks like cigarettes, man. They've been outside for like 2 weeks. I just I don't want to deal with them. But anyways, we just had 391 viewers. We're gonna hit 400. Ronnie, tell them, what do they got to do, man, right now? What's your advice? We're 10 away.
You gotta like, share.
10 away.
Come on.
We're so close, man. We are so close.
We gotta get it. We're so close.
Go into the Reseller Society and just spam it with this video. No, I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. But if you guys do want to join a Facebook group, a really cool free one, Reseller Society. Let's see what else we got for questions. RT Car Key, I am the 400th. Almost. You're getting there. Holy mackerel. These two guys are the most sincere, honest sellers out there. Good job. I appreciate it, Betty. Question, Raiken, do you do high volume turnover sells? Do you like to sell low shirts, $1? Let's just turn this into a straight up question for both of us. Me, I hate selling low dollar items because I'm a one man show right now. If I had an employee, I would mess with lower end items. But what about you, Ronnie? Do you like messing with items that only make you a couple bucks?
For the most part, I can't find items to cost me that cheap to make money. Like at one time, there was a unit next to us available for rent at our warehouse, and we were thinking about getting 2 employees and really trying to turn through the clothing. We would have had to go cheaper. The problem was our thrift stores are just too high priced. Even on half off day, it's not worth picking up a lot of that stuff. So it didn't make business sense to do it because I don't think, but if you're in a different area, it could work. And it just depends on your business plan.
All right, looking for some more questions right now. If you guys have questions, feel free to throw them into the comments. Do you try to, first off, Little Shop of Hoarders, what's going on? Do you try to maintain a certain average on your platforms? Like if you averaged $50, do you lot up multiple lower priced items to try and maintain your average? So if you have an average sell price of $50, will you take, 3 Ralph Laurens and put them together for 60? Would you rather do that versus, selling them separately?
It all depends on, I've lotted stuff together. I think we all do. It just depends. Like if I'm at a thrift store and I see a bunch of them together and maybe they're half off day, I wouldn't have messed with them. But it's like, oh, they're $250 each. They're all size large. Let me get them. And I've done that with a lot of certain brands before. I've done that with brands like LL Bean, Horowitz, Ralph Lauren, of course. But you could get into even Joseph A. Bank. You can get into lower ones, lot them together, and you're saving yourself on the shipping also and lotting them together. But you got to make sure they're the same size. And it's a little harder with dress shirts to do that. But casual shirts, you could do that with.
Let's throw out some really good brands to mess with when it comes to clothing. Brands that you enjoy buying and selling. I'll start it off. Vineyard Vines.
Brand I like. I just sell a lot of it, and it's you got to look for certain things. Is Ralph Lauren. I just sold I had the teddy bears all over it on the polo shirt, and I paid $13 for it, but it sold in one day for $121, and it went to Switzerland. But that shirt in one day had 100 views and like 9 watchers by the time it sold. It was unreal. That shirt was getting attention.
Dude, speaking of Ralph Lauren, man, like holy crap! Like somebody posted I don't know if it was a picture or a screenshot. It was in the green room today. I don't know if the sale was going on. There was 36 bids on it. I don't know if it ended or what, but it was this polo shirt with just a normal polo shirt with like this crazy little design. I don't know if it was horses or it was something weird. Dude, it was at 36 bids at $1,200.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna look that up in the sold listings, but it was like crazy.
There's some shirts and sweaters that you could get over $1,000 for pretty easily. There's one, it's called the Snow Beach jacket. It was worn in the video there with the one rapper from the Wu-Tang Clan. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But that jacket, I've seen that sell as high as $3,000.
What's the most you've ever spent on a clothing item? Somebody asked in the comment section.
Most money I think I've ever spent was $100 on a Chanel jacket. And
What'd you end up getting rid of that for?
I've sold it twice, and I still have it listed now. I've sold it twice.
Did it get returned, or
no?
They didn't pay for it.
2 non-paying bidders. Both times it sold over $3,000. I still have it now. It's going to go to a consignment here very shortly because I have a few higher-end women stuff that have just been sitting way too long, and I gotta try something else to move them because eBay's just not. I don't know. Somebody doesn't want to spend $3,000 on a jacket on eBay. I'm thinking.
Let's talk buy it now or auction. Looks like we just had a question come in from Sorry, I can't shout you out, but the feed's moving so quick. Buy it now or auction. Let's name a situation where you'd go auction, and then let's talk about a situation you'd go buy it now.
Probably something like that Snow Beach jacket, or a really rare Ralph Lauren piece, or even some Tommy Hilfiger pieces are really desirable. You might get away with doing an auction on one of those. But something that's very common, like you got your little slim fit non-iron Brooks Brothers shirt, probably not a good idea to put that on a auction. There's thousands of them, you know.
Yeah.
If somebody really wants it, they can get it. But rarer, hard to find things, it's sometimes good on an auction, but it doesn't always necessarily mean it's going to sell for good money, and that's part of the problem. You know, sometimes it does. I think that jacket for $2,700 has been up there for like 2 years.
Let's talk accounting software. I'm actually going through this situation right now where I'm going to be getting a new CPA. I'm hiring a bookkeeper because I'm at the point now where I really have to leverage my time and make sure that things are being done the right way with all the different businesses that I have going on. But with that being said, let's talk about accounting, not from a legal advice standpoint, but from just kind of what we do. I've always used GoDaddy bookkeeping. I'm actually getting ready to switch over to QuickBooks with the new with the new game plan that I'm going to be putting in line. But anyways, what do you use to keep track of your eBay, Amazon sales, fees, all that good stuff?
I like GoDaddy. It's just, that's what I've used. It's what I have everything linked to, especially for eBay and Amazon. I keep track of everything very easily. And it links my PayPal account. So even if I do some sales off eBay, I'll make an invoice and I'll get taxed on it. You know, when I have it go through, you know, through there, and I make sure it's just simplicity with me. Whatever's easiest and the quickest for me to get done, because I don't want to spend a lot of time for it. And the lady who does my bookkeeping loves it. She loves the sheets that you print out at the end. Everything's very
report and everything. I want to give some advice real quick. This is a mistake that I made in the past, and this will definitely help you when it comes to bookkeeping and taxes at the end of the year or quarterly if you're paying estimated taxes and all that. Make sure when you're first getting started, you don't have to do this, but it's a good practice. Get yourself a checking account that's only business. So all income that's coming in from your business, have it go into the business account. Don't mix it up with your personal. Also, get yourself a credit card, whether it's a business credit card or a credit card that's only dedicated to buying, and make sure that everything that you purchase that has to do with your business, from boxes to tape to you know, any cost of goods or anything, is on that card. So then when you go to look at all your expenses and all your income, it's all separated. Is that how you do it as well, Ronnie? I know some people don't, but for me, I mean, my life there was a lot of issues that I had to deal with because of that.
Yeah, I have a business checking account, a business account, and all that kind of stuff. I have a corporation name and everything for my business. It was just from when I was buying a house, when that was my goal at that time. It was very easy for me to say I own a company instead of, oh, I sell on eBay. They look at you as more of a hobby person, like, as your, what's the word I'm trying to use when you, I forgot the word, that technical word they use.
Sure.
But,
and it's protection too.
Yeah, it's protection. It's just an extra layer, a protection for yourself in a way. But I do have that. I do have the PayPal debit card that I almost put all my transactions on. Then I also have an American Express card I have linked with that account for any spending time from time to time. If I come across a really good deal, I'll put it on that card to know I have, well, 4 to 6 weeks before I really have to pay it back or something like that. I could play with money a little bit, but I don't like to do that because it's what sets, I think what people get too much credit and then they overuse it. And I've seen where people mismanage money, especially with like the working capital loan, because I guess it gets taken out daily. And what happens is their money is not growing any better than what it was, but they're taking out 20 or 30% of your profit. You know, and it starts to hurt your bottom line because now you're losing that money that you were getting before, but your business has not grown.
That's why it's so important to go through your finances each and every month. And I know that's something that you've always done. you always share kind of like how much you make and your cost of goods and all that stuff. It's so important, guys. You get what you focus on. You want to know how much money did you spend on cost of goods during the month, right? What's your sell-through rate? What's your average price per sale? What are your financials? What's your income, your expenses? And just stay on it, stay on the ball, and it's a habit. You do it every month, you get into it. But anyways, there was another question coming in from Tina's Closet question. Do you store eBay items at home or a storage area, Ronnie?
Most of my stuff is at my house. Right now, we had a warehouse for a while, but most everything is stayed at our house right now. With the exception of some like heavier jackets and larger things, are stored at a storage unit that we have probably about a mile up the street. It's just easy for me to put certain things there.
The Little Shop of Hoarders is asking, question, is eBay 1099 only for 200 transactions or 20K, or is it 200 transactions and 20,000 within a year? I believe you have to meet both of the criteria. So from my understanding, you have to sell 200 items or more and hit 20,000, which means you have to meet both criteria. Is that correct, Ronnie?
I believe so.
If you hit 20,000 in sales, talk to somebody who is 100% sure. That's all. That's my advice.
I would say if you're, even before you get to that point, if you start doing like $1,000 a month in sales, you better start talking to somebody, because technically, going by state, anything over $600 a year, even though PayPal might not 1099 you for it, but technically it's supposed to be legally. And you never know what information the government gets and what information they don't get. And
you're supposed to pay taxes on anything you make, even cash and stuff. Obviously people take shortcuts, but a 1099, for people who don't know what that is, it's pretty much when PayPal cuts you a 1099, the 1099 is a way of the government finding out that you made money. So, my father's a CPA, and he tells me that there's just computers that once a 1099 gets released, the computer automatically is looking. So you want to make sure that you take care of filing your taxes. I got a buddy who he hasn't filed taxes in a couple of years, and we were talking, and I'm like, man, you got to get on it. You don't want to fall into that trap. Take care of your taxes. Take care of when you get receipts every month, put them in a designated area, whether you use a service like shoebox.com or you scan it in or you have an Excel spreadsheet, create a system for it each and every month and stay on the game. It's not fun. It's not sexy. It's not a sexy thing to do your taxes, but it's part of the game.
From past experience, I've had the federal government come after me for unpaid taxes back like.
What happens in that situation?
They levy against you, and at the time I was, they just took like 30% of my take-home pay at my job. You don't even know. You get a letter like one day before it happened or a few days before it happens, and it's like, damn. And if you're self-employed, they'll come after your bank account, PayPal account. I had an issue last year with my PayPal account for like 5 weeks because of like $200 misunderstanding. It was literally a misunderstanding, and I fixed it right away. But it took PayPal 5 weeks to get their shit together to release it. Because they said, "Oh, we're sorry, we made a mistake," and took PayPal forever. I could have transactions go in there, but I wasn't taking my money out, and it was like I finally had to got a hold of the CEO's number and was like, "Dude, what's good here? You need to." And it was funny. They made it happen like within a minute, a few hours, and it was all good. But man, I was bullshit for a while because I'm like, they don't take faxes, so you really have to pay attention. Like PayPal is old school when it comes to a lot of they go snail mail if you have an issue with them, and that can take a while.
One of the challenges that I had, I'm kind of shifting gears a little bit right now, but I'm just reading some of the comments. One of the challenges that I had transitioning from part-time to full-time and just being an entrepreneur in general is we have to wear a lot of hats, right? We're the person, we're acquiring inventory. We're the ones who's processing inventory. We're dealing with taxes. We're dealing with bookkeeping, unless we outsource that. We're dealing with inventory. There's so many different areas, right? It's like, how many hats would you have to guess that you're wearing, as an entrepreneur? All the different aspects that you have to handle, even if it's on a small scale.
I mean, you just got to do so much. That's why it helped me having my wife go full time with me. She helps with the two things that I'm really bad at. One is taking pictures. If it was me, I'd still be taking pictures on the back of my bathroom door. Number two
I remember
is,
that, dude. I
is
remember that.
is organization of stuff. We all had bad pictures when we started. I mean, some of your pictures were dark as fuck.
Dude, you remember those pictures back when I used to hang that mannequin on my bedroom wall with like stains all over it?
It was just weird because stuff still
Classy.
sold. It showed that stuff still would sell, but you really need to. It helped me having somebody else. You know, she helped me organize. Like I would have the idea of the organization, but I would never follow through with it. So you know, she's a good person to have me help with that part. And it's also my sourcing buddy. So when I'm out, I always have somebody with me for the most part.
396, 397. We're gonna hit 400 right now. I just want to come on, guys. Just dropped down to 392. And I start talking and the freaking viewership I thought if I talk, the viewership starts going up.
They're like, dude, we're not giving it to you. We're not giving it to you.
Darn it, man. They want you to take the crown.
That's funny.
Question. I recently bombed hard. My first time trying retail arbitrage for FBA. What advice would you give me to see more success in the future? So this is an Amazon question. We'll answer it real quick. Do you want to touch on that? Do you do retail arbitrage at all?
I haven't this year. Last year I kind of got into it in the summer. I kind of stayed away from it. I just don't like it. I don't like going to
it's a different
retail store. Dude, I cringe if I have to go to a Walmart. Like I'm not.
Man, I killed it. I absolutely, last month, it was my best month ever on Amazon because I went to a Walmart and right when I got there, the guy was bringing out all the clearance, and I know him because I go in there every now and then. We were chit-chatting. He's like, dude, we have like thousands of items that are going clearance. And I'm like, I just sat there all day long just buying it. Like $50 items, $5, $50 items, $5, like $20 items, like $2. And I had the best month ever. So if you're not doing well with retail arbitrage, visit more stores and go more often. But it's a challenge right now. Retail arbitrage is a little iffy with the whole Amazon restrictions. But anyways, let's stay on the eBay topic. What else do we have for questions? Some people are talking about the 1099. Make sure that what you claim that you made is what is being shown on the 1099. So that's definitely important. You don't want any inconsistencies there. Let's see. I'm looking for questions. Raiken, please say button and cotton. I got you. Do you ever have people saying like, I love your accent?
I have people that say they love the accent. And the other thing is oh man, I always get freaking hammered with the pronunciations of brands. People kill me. They're like, "Yo, you can't pronounce that right." But I went to speech therapy most of my life. Like,
you asked 5 people how to pronounce. Okay, can you pronounce Ermenegildo Zegna? Now you say how you're gonna say it.
Ermenegildo
Zegna.
I don't know. It's my wife knows that brand. I can't say it.
Let's see. Everyone's saying turtle, so there must be a turtle in the house right now. Good to see ya. Man, we hit 399. Why do you got to tease me like that, Repairman for life? Man, if we don't hit 400 tonight, Ronnie, you ain't gonna see me posting many videos lately. Because before this show, I had a gut feeling that we're gonna hit it.
We just keep going live till we get to 400.
I'm not ending the show until if we keep. It is what it is. How do you plan your day? Somebody wants to know. How do you plan your day in terms of business?
I mean, first thing I do is shipping. I go through, sometimes depending on like the days, I'll ship maybe a little bit at night and then ship the rest of the stuff in the morning. We have the mail come and pick it up. So most of the time it's just shipping stuff and, then I'll go to our local stores and pick up some stuff, here and there.
Keep talking. We hit it.
But I mean, we'll go to my local stores. We'll look around. I'll see if there's anything that I could find to make money on. I at least go to 2 local stores at least once every day. And then from there, it's kind of just like I'll make drafts, and then when my wife gets ready, she'll take the pictures. So I just go in and add the pictures later on. Like right now, there's probably 40 drafts I got to go up. Every day is a little bit different, but it does revolve around putting some time into eBay one way or the other, either sourcing or listing or shipping.
I'm not laughing at you. Somebody left a comment like, "You hit 400. Congrats. Now it's gone."
Hey, it's 401.
Two guys that got me into reselling. Glad I made it to the live hangout. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. Want to thank everybody for hitting that 400. I'm like tearing up because I'm laughing so hard. Someone says, "Heck with 400. Let's hit 500." But yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. I don't know about you, Ronnie, man, but I can honestly say that if it wasn't for the YouTube channel, for the community, I probably would still be working a job at a restaurant or something, because you're going to get punched. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to face issues, and just having people on YouTube and in Facebook groups and stuff, like, it helps motivate you. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Let's talk about somebody who wants to transition from part-time to full-time. Is it a good idea for them to get a community or a mastermind, even if it's just 2 or 3 people to connect with on a regular basis?
Yeah, I definitely think it's good to form. Everybody always forms their little not their niches, their little cliques in this, and everybody has their little buddy system. I always try to keep around very positive people for the most part, because I hate being sucked into negativity and stuff like that, because I really don't care what anybody else is really doing. I'll come across people and I'll dig into their background a little bit, and I laugh when I figure out they're not what they say they are. But I just don't follow them. I move on. There's no reason to start an all-out war with different people, because eventually it's going to cut into my time. I'm not going to sit here and troll other people like some people do. It's like, come on, man. Oh, you guys got better time to spend doing other things. It's like, I just, I might not be the most correct, positive, politically correct person. I tend to say whatever is on my mind. If I'm going to be liked or not by it, I don't care.
I appreciate that.
It's just the way I say things. I'm not going to be, it's just the way I am. And it's sometimes I come off a little salty or a little rude to people, but I don't mean anything by it.
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. At the end of the day, be yourself, find people you connect with and that you have chemistry with. That's really important. But spend your time in a valuable way. Time is our precious asset. There's only so much time that we can spend. There's only so much time during the day. There's tons of items out there. There's ways to source. There's all different things out in this world. But time, everybody has the same amount, so use your time wisely. Question, is there people in the green room that are very knowledgeable with taxes and such? Is there a financial and tax section talk? We don't have any of that in the green room, but we are actually, in terms of taxes and stuff. I don't know if any of you guys know Anna Hill. She's got a phenomenal Facebook group. I believe are you a part of it? I think it's Accounting We Will Go. If you guys are looking to learn about accounting and taxes from actual tax professionals, not bro science dudes like Ronnie and I, actual like accountants and people who know their stuff, go to the Facebook group, join it right now. It's Accounting We Will Go. I believe Anna Hill runs it. It's a free group, phenomenal group. I learned so much in there, and we're actually going to be bringing her onto a live show maybe within the next 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know if it's going to be a green room show or not, but that's going to be a really cool show. Do you know who that is, Ronnie?
No, I do not.
No, she's awesome. But anyways, let's see if there's any more questions coming in. We got to wrap things up. What are the basic things you need to sell? Cape Cod. All right, that's not a question. Okay. From Dutch Weeks 1, question, what is the best way to set your goals? In other words, what's the best way to set yourself up for accomplishment? I'm going to show you guys real quick what I do. I've got this little journal, and inside of it are all my goals that I have. And what I do is I read them every night. So create all your goals. This is just one thing that I do. You don't have to do it if you're not into this type of stuff. But I've got all my goals, and I read them pretty much every single night. It takes about 10 minutes. I'm not going to go through each one with you, but I read them. one of the goals is I'm gonna hit 400 viewers on YouTube. But I read them every single day. Write them in the present. Write them as if they've already happened. I don't know why, but I've done a lot of research on goal setting. Create your goals. Like, don't say like I want to make $30,000 on eBay this year, right? I have now made $30,000 on eBay by December 31st, 2016 sooner. Make them specific, make them measurable. So that's what I do. What about you? Do you have any goals, or do you just kind of have them in your mind? What are your thoughts on goals, Ronnie?
I mean, mostly, it's always your goal is always to do better than what you did before. This year, I kind of took a little bit of the summer off. I think 1 month I only listed like 30 things. Last month I listed only like 60 things, and 12 of those was postcards. So so it was kind of like I kind of took it down. I knew sales weren't going to be that big. I just wanted to like prepare myself for the fourth quarter, kind of get a little rejuvenated, enjoy the summer, and just come back and be ready to go, like hit it hard. And there's a lot of different things I was trying to do, trying to lose weight, and stuff like that. Still doing that, but it's easier, a little bit easier now. But goals have to be attainable. And the best way to kind of do it is set yourself up to only do 5% better than the last month. Because you want it. A wise man once told me that you kind of want to make it that it's attainable to get. You don't want to do $3,000 and say next month I'm going to do 6. It's like, what did you get yourself to get in that position? But if you did, if you did that over the course of a year, let's say if you did 100,000, you kept on saying, I'm going to do 5% better. You're looking at like doing 160,000 at the end of the year. That's not, really bad position to put yourself in. It gives yourself little building blocks on that step, instead of constantly trying to, I get sometimes a little caught up with my numbers. Like this year, I wanted to do $250,000 in total sales. I'm probably not going to hit it, but I didn't need to hit it because I didn't have the warehouse for most of the year. So I didn't have that extra $1,000 on it. Now I have an issue with rooms. So it does change things a little bit. There's always something there. And then I'm kind of maybe possibly switching gears totally to where, I'm kind of slowing down, trying to figure out what is my next step to go and, figure out the best way to attain it.
Yeah, I really like what you said about not setting your goals like too high. I mean, I think long-term goals are really good to shoot for. Like, say you're only doing like $20,000 a year on eBay. Like, I think saying like, in 3 years from now or 2 years from now, like a longer-term goal, like I'm going to hit like this big number. But I'm a big believer in having like short-term attainable goals, like 5% more, because if you actually, like, half the battle is just believing it, right? Like if you want to take action, like you've got to believe in yourself. And by improving, I know someone was mentioning Brian Tracy. I was just listening to his book, his audio book today. It was called No Excuses, and he was talking about the principle of how to improve 1,000% over 10 years. And it's easy. Just improve 0.5% per day. Just improve a tiny bit per day, and what's the word? Compounded over 10 years. I mean, that's 1,000% based on whatever he was talking about. But improve a little bit each day. It's super, super important. But yeah, I think that's about it for right now. Do you want to answer a few more questions, or?
Yeah, I mean, I got a little bit more time.
All right, let's answer a few more questions. Someone's asking, what is FBA? That's fulfillment by Amazon. That's Amazon fulfilling your orders. Let's see. Question, do I need to be an LLC for selling on Amazon? No, you don't. An LLC actually funnels through your personal. So like when you make money as an LLC, it's actually going to funnel right down to your personal return. But it's good just for like liability issues, and it's good for protection and whatnot. Depends what you're doing. But I sold without having an LLC for the longest time, so it's not a necessity at first. I don't have a scale to weigh my FBA shipments. Can I take those stuffs to UPS without a shipping label? Just get a scale. What are your thoughts, Ronnie?
Scales are cheap. I mean, you could buy
get a scale.
You could buy a scale for, I think I got mine 4 years ago for like $25 on eBay, and it's still usable. I had a bigger scale that I picked up for $10 at the warehouse, but that one I don't even know where it is at the moment, because it didn't weigh by ounce, it weighed by pounds, really. So it was good for the Amazon orders, but it's not good for like putting a dress shirt on it, trying to figure out. It's like comes up 0.6, and I'm like, what the hell's 0.6 in ounces though?
Yeah. Somebody was asking how to prove expenses at garage sales. This is actually something that I'm going to start doing, and I learned it from the Bonafide Hustler. Go to Walmart or Target and buy one of those receipt books. And each time you go to a garage sale, write down the address, write down what you purchased, and then write down how much you spent, and just write yourself a receipt. Now, is that gonna stand if you get audited? I don't know, but I've asked several people this question, higher end sellers, and this is what they do. So I think it's just an added protection. Plus, don't forget, if you're buying an item at a garage sale for, let's just say $100 and you're selling it for $500, if you're not claiming that cost of goods, you're essentially paying more taxes than you should. So again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant. Ask your CPA, but that's what I've heard, and that's what I'm going to start doing. What about you, Ronnie, when it comes to garage sales? I know we're getting into some of the legality,
Yeah.
which is.
I mean, I heard Bonafide say he did that more than a few times, and I'm like, that's always a cool idea. I always think, oh, I'm going to start that at the start of this, start of the year, and then like.
But what do you do? How do
months.
do you still claim it as a cost of goods? You just don't.
Yeah, I know. I claim it as cost goods. I usually will whatever we get for that day. Like estate sales almost always give you receipts, so that's not bad. But there's certain thrift stores that only do cash. I have a notepad. Trying to figure out if I have it here with me. Might be in the car. And as I get stuff, I'll write it down in the notepad for that day. And that's just what my tax person told me to do. And I add it up for every month. I'll put it in outright, like the total cost. I haven't had any issues with the IRS or anything like that. It's similar to what that is, but I'm not writing in per, you know what I mean? I'm just certain numbers. I mean, I don't know exactly what would help you if you ever got audited. I really don't.
Talk to a CPA. I mean, we're not giving you guys legal advice. We're just talking about our own experience. I get this question all the time. Do you get it a lot in the reseller society where it's like, what should I do for taxes? What should I do for this? And it's like,
I hate tax questions. It's one of those questions that is just people ask, but it's very it's just very hard to figure out. What
there's different laws and states, and it's like you
shouldn't be asking any other person.
Yeah, if you're gonna take
that, when you do your taxes, you're not gonna put me down as the damn professional that did the taxes.
Ronnie told me when we hit 400 likes that I could count this as an expense. Let's see. Somebody was saying, what's contemporaneously mean? It means the same day. I was actually wondering the same thing. I'll admit it. Let's see. Did you know what that word meant?
Not really 100% sure. Yes. I was thinking kind of what it meant, but I didn't have any idea.
I heard that word the other day, and I'm like, yeah, contemporaneously. Yeah. All right. Anyways, let's see. Can you sell clothes from retail stores to sell on eBay or only from thrift stores? I'll let you attack that one.
Yeah, I mean, I do some from TJ Maxx and Marshalls. I do buy some stuff there on clearance, and the margins might be smaller.
Robert Graham's?
Huh?
I was just throwing. Keep going.
It is a good way to find some merchandise, and there's some of our TJ Maxx has off the runway. And they have really high. You could go in there and find Prada, Gucci, sometimes, and just plug myself now. This Glenn of Hustle Hacks talks about that kind of stuff all the time, and we just did a show a few days ago on my channel, and he talks about kind of his thing, and that's a lot of what he does is buy stuff from Ross and then resells it on eBay. And
have you seen his YouTube videos, man? He gets anytime. He's a good friend of mine, so I'm gonna crack a joke. But I made a joke to him. I said, "Man, you should just make every one of your videos with the keyword Ross in it." You ever seen his videos? They'll get 20,000 views if he just puts the word. I'll tell you right now, if anyone wants to start a YouTube channel up, just put the word Ross in the title for everyone and show what you find at Marshalls or TJ Maxx. That freaking community is psycho over that stuff. They love it.
I was going, because I watch. Because that's one thing I could always learn more about is sneakers, and stuff. So and his videos are short, so they're not that bad. I can watch somebody's 6-minute video. It's, I'm not really losing too much time, and there's other people, because I don't watch too much TV. So if I'm shipping or something like that, I can watch a few different videos. I might watch 3 in the same day. You know, I might not watch everybody's. I've been
What were your
watching
thoughts on the 5 beginner tips to sell on eBay?
5 beginner tips.
That was the video I put out today. I'm just
Um,
cracking a joke. Let's see. There was a good question that just came in. Where is it? Holy mackerel! There's so many people in the comment section. I've never seen it this crazy before. What's the weirdest thing you ever sold on eBay? I can't remember. What about you?
weirdest thing. I don't know if I've ever sold anything like really weird.
Have I sold anything weird? I don't know. Question: are clothes in general long tail items? I have some clothes listed and no clothes sell at all. Even Robert Graham shirts.
I think it comes down to certain brands sell slower than others, and at certain price points. Robert Graham tends to be that shirt. If it's not loud and not crazy, it kind of will sit a little while. And it just depends on what you're pricing stuff at, because those kind of shirts, those like Gugachumo shirts and those kind of shirts, whatever you want to call them, club wear shirts almost, that just kind of they remind me of. Looking to be, they kind of look like they've been down for a little while, those shirts in general. So it's just, one of those things. But it just depends. Like I know suits and sport coats for the most part are longer tail items. I expect to sit on those for at least 3 months when I get them. But some might sell the first day. You just don't know.
Any tips for dealing with feedback on eBay compared to Amazon?
Lack of feedback on Amazon. Yeah, I'm lucky if I get one or two feedback for like 100 items sold, maybe. eBay is a little different. I would say probably like 40 to 50% leave you feedback. I think like we're right around 50%. Probably. It just depends. But I don't think there's anything you can do really to make someone leave you feedback. Just be happy. I would not hound people because I really hate it when people used to hound me for feedback. Like, oh, you're gonna give me feedback.
You get the notification thinking you sold something or like it's an important thing, and then
and I'm like, no, I don't got time for that. Or I might have not been unhappy with a little something they did, and then I'm kind of pissed that they're looking for feedback. It's like you ship a suit, 2-piece suit in a freaking padded flat rate, and I had to get it dry cleaned because the damn thing was wrinkled and stuffed in there. And a button was cracked that I didn't really complain.
I've done that when I was new, and you learn real quick not to do it again.
It's just one of the, you really want to take care of your customers, but there's really not much you can do for feedback, unfortunately. Just I would not push people. I mean, you could give them have the cards made out, put cards in there, kind of maybe personalized, putting an invoice in there, maybe that would help. But just ship stuff fast and be good about it. Make sure you're selling, just shipping stuff fast, and I don't know.
Good advice. So I think we're going to cut the show off right now because I want to hold us to our times. We've gone over. I want to respect your time. I'd love to stay on longer and chat with you. I've never seen this many people on a live show before. I mean, we've had 370 like the whole entire show. It's been creeping up. So I do want to thank everybody for watching live. Do us a big favor right now. Hit that like button below. It looks like we're at 318 likes. Let's get it up to 400 likes before we end the show. If you could do it, do us a big favor. We would definitely appreciate it. A few things. If you like this channel and these videos, be sure to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button to get more videos. If you want to learn more about Ronnie does a couple different shows periodically. You've got the Pickers Church?
Yeah, we do Pickers Church, which is on my channel Tuesdays, which is usually just me and Chad, Golden Finger Picker. And then also Friday night on Golden Finger Picker's channel, we do the Resell Poll Show, which is me,
That's an awesome
Chad,
show.
and also Pete, the Craigslist hunter. And great people. I enjoy these people. If you're not, I don't know who's not subscribed to them, but if you're not, go find their channels too. But you got to subscribe to me. I mean, that's the big thing. You want to know about clothing? No, I'm just kidding.
You got to. You got to. We hit 400. You know what? Since we hit 400 today, you guys do me a big favor. Come on, the Raiken Profit Nation. Go over, subscribe to him, Ronnie Hart. What's your actual username right now?
Heart Pickers.
Heart Pickers. Cool. So,
HART.
anyways, guys, any other housekeeping? Free book in the description, 100 Amazing Items to Resell. Get that free book. First line of description. That's a book that we created with the Green Room, 100 Amazing Items to Resell. Used to be paid. It's funny, before the show, Ronnie and I were talking about how we had a little, wasn't an argument, but a fun little chat back in the day about it, because we actually used to charge $40 for that book, 100 Amazing Items to Resell, which may have been overpriced, may not have. I think it was worth it because you find one item in there, then it pays for itself. But it was an interesting time in the community with ebooks. But anyways, the book's now free. First line of the description. Also, we're having a Green Room Virtual Summit in January. If you want to get notified about that, it's the second line of the description. Hit that. But yeah, with that being said, smash the like button. Subscribe to Ronnie. We'll see you guys. It was awesome. I mean, we hit a record today, Ronnie. So I know Golden Finger Picker's in the channel. I don't want to rub them the wrong way, man, but your boy Ronnie, he kicked your ass, man. I don't know what else to say. He came with the fire. So
I was joking with him earlier today. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna hit 400." I was like, "Bullshit." But then, like 8 minutes in, I think we're over 300. I'm like, "Oh shit, it might be possible."
It's amazing how large this community's grown. I mean, you remember a couple years ago when, who was that one guy? It was Brett or Brent. He used to have the trash talk and treasures. Remember a live show?
Yeah.
There'd be like 30 people watching live, and everyone's like, "Holy crap! There's 30 people watching live." Now it's like this community has just grown, and
Even the Facebook groups. I mean, me and you were in Autumn's upscale retail group there, Sellers Helping Sellers, and I remember when you added me to that group, it was like 50 people. And
dude,
now Facebook groups have, I think in the Resell Society, we have like 19,000 or 20,000 people. And, there's so many other groups that have so many other people too. It's unreal.
It's big. It's a big community, and it's growing. So I think that's good. There's a lot of different things that are happening now with eBay and Amazon and OfferUp. There's a lot of opportunities out there. So I'm excited for the future, and happy to have you guys following along. So with that being said, keep on picking and making that money, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Smash that like button.
See you, everyone.
Bye.